What is up, Warriors? How the hell are you? So this video basically goes out to anybody playing the Warriors way game, 75 hard, who's in Lions, not sheep, and is trying to get after their core four and do other things. And I think a lot of us are missing the point. We're missing the point that every week when you're playing the Warriors way game, you have to do a return and report called your general's tent. And the general's tent, the whole point of it is to try to reflect on the prior week, what worked, what didn't work, and to course correct, right? So if you're playing the game of core four, body, being, balance, and business, I know Sean Whalen calls it something else. But if you're playing that game, okay, the name of the game is not to do the same tasks every day. Yes, that's the name of the game with 75 hard. You have to do the exact tasks as they say for 75 days. And there's a phase one, phase two, all that other stuff. But the bottom line is that's a challenge. It's specific rules that you're giving yourself, right? But it's not holistic. It doesn't cover the entire aspect of your life. It's missing parts of your relationship. It's missing parts of your business. And again, I know some wise ass is going to tell me that in phase 1 and 2 and all that other shit. Yeah, I understand. They address it later. But I don't think that you should ever have strict rules permanently for the rest of your life on your body, being, balance, and business. So to me, this is my perception of how these things all interweave, is that every week during my general's tent, I have to decide that the way I play my core four last week, is it acceptable this week? Okay, so if I called it good for a 10-minute HIIT workout as my body, half point for body, and I called it good for a green smoothie, is that sufficient? That's the question I got to ask myself. And so what I'm trying to do is continually up my game in my core four. So how do you do that? Okay, so yeah, it's really easy when you think about it in terms of working out, right? So it's like, yeah, that 10 minutes can turn into a half an hour. It can turn into 45 minutes. It can turn into 75 hards, 2 workouts, 1 outside. Okay, and that qualifies as what your core four is going to be for the week. Okay, what is it that your objective is for the week that you plan on hitting or don't plan on hitting? And how do you judge whether you were successful or not? How do you score it good or score it not? Everybody that's been playing this game knows that there is weak efforts and there's strong efforts, right? So how can you gauge that? Well, you got to set up the rules in advance. You got to change the rules of the game every week and amend them based on where you're at in your life, man. If you're injured, you can't do some serious exercise. You're going to have to do rehab, and that's going to be your half point for body that day. You understand what I'm saying? So when it comes to things that you add in for me, as an example, I have made doing the Wim Hof breathing exercises a huge part of the way that I meditate. Why? Because it counts for the 0.5 meditation, but also it gives me happy drugs. It fills my body full of really good stuff. Look it up. It just feels good, and that's why I do it. It makes me feel better, okay? It's like an antidepressant, all right? And the same thing is true with cold showers, okay? That doesn't fit into any of that shit except for phase 2 and 3 of 75 hard. Cold showers, cold plunges, running half naked in the rain, at 18 degrees. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Well, that's my body game, man. And it's how I'm choosing to play my core four that week. What does it mean to hit your core four that week? Well, I have to hit these certain tasks that I've decided that are important to me. And now they become part of who I am. Why do I do those things? Because I've found that they work for me, right? So it's not about send a text to your wife. And if you tell her you love her today and send her a little heart emoji, I'm not knocking that. If you have a really shitty relationship, and that may be a hell of a lot more than you've ever done, okay? But maybe you need to do a little bit more. Maybe your core four and your balance this week is taking out the garbage consistently. Maybe it's making the bed consistently. Maybe it's picking up your shit off the floor consistently. Maybe it's taking your wife out on a date, right? Okay? So that can be your balance point. You can make it anything you want. Core 4 is just a framework. It's a framework by which you live your life. And the General's Tent every week, the whole point of that is just, it's a meeting with yourself. It's a non-negotiable meeting with yourself to assess your core 4, to assess your game, and to determine if you are playing at your true level, or are you just, phoning it in, man. You got to be real with yourself. That's the whole point of living by the code, the warrior code. Okay, is to be real, raw, and relevant with a ruthless pursuit of big ass results every single day. Okay, I know I'm jumping around all over the place, but the bottom line is that the core 4 is your framework. Inside that framework, you can plug in whatever the fuck you want to plug into it, as long as you're being real with yourself. And if you're being real with yourself every week, you're going to determine what does core 4 look like for you this week. You get what I'm saying now? Okay? So when people are debating, well, maybe I should do this first before I do that. No, it's whatever is working for you at that moment. Okay? Maybe to get your memoirs point, you're at a level where you have to do a mega stack and then a gratitude stack and send it to somebody, and before you can call it good on core 4. Well, the mistake that I made for a very, very long time was deciding those rules on the fly and then just saying, hey, well, yeah, I'm calling this good. I got my core 4. But if you made a plan in advance of how you're going to play your core 4, then those numbers mean a hell of a lot more to you than they did if you didn't make a plan and you just kind of wung it and just, I've done this. I send my buddy a text at 11:30 at night. I did my declare, and it's like a one-line text. Well, was it a declare? Yes, it's a declare. Is that how I planned it for on my Sunday night for the following week? If it isn't, I shouldn't be calling it a good for my declare. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I have it figured out or I have the answers or whatever. I'm just telling you that here's my analysis of how you can play the core 4 and adapt it to your lifestyle. Maybe it's a double workout. Maybe it's a walk and it's a yoga session at night. It's whatever you decide it to be. You got what I'm saying? It's in business. I'll give you another example. In business, my friend Hans came up with this idea. Garrett J. White's always saying, hit your core before you hit the door to prepare for war, right? That it's the power that you need. It creates the power that you need to be able to attack your day. And I couldn't agree more. He amended that, my friend Hans, to say, hit your core before you hit the door app, the warrior door app. And those who use it understand what I mean, before you go to war. So in other words, it's like you hit your core, and then you could play the game where you don't give yourself a business point unless you set up your hit list items, your 4 critical tasks that you must accomplish that day. Unless you set that up, then you don't get to call yourself good for the day in business. There's a lot of ways you can play, but don't do it on the fly. This is my advice to you. This is the epiphany that I've gotten recently. That don't do it on the fly. Determine what your core 4 is going to look like on your General's Tent. Okay? Set up your goals for the week of how you're going to play this game and then get after it. And now you're really holding yourself accountable because you already said how you're going to play. You're not just allowing yourself to cheat and say, oh yeah, I'm doing good. I'm expanding. No, you're not. You're not fucking expanding if you're doing you're playing the core 4 the same way every single time, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. You're not growing. Don't bullshit yourself. All right? Anyway, that's the whole point of this video, is to say, what are the rules of your core 4? That's my question for you, okay? Post it. Post it in the comments because I'm curious to see what your core 4 looks like this week. It's going to change next week. Follow? All right. God bless you. I love you.